There, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to talk about storage for Legions Imperialis. Before we hop into the main topic though, I do want to give a big shout out to Mr. Roland Lucas, our first member on the channel, and also to all of the new subscribers that have joined in the past couple of weeks. Thank you all so much for the love and support. But let's just get right into this. So in the last video, which I'll link up in the cards, we went ahead and painted 4 boxes of Solar Auxilia infantry. And that is a ton of miniatures, 416 to be precise. And when I was done and I was ready to move on to my next project, I realized I didn't really have anywhere to put them. So, what I ended up doing, now this right here is a 4-liter US sized, really useful box. I use these to store the overwhelming majority of my miniatures. I even did a video series on how I magnetize these as well as my miniatures to use them for storage. Now, the issue that you'd have with this, though, is that if you put your Legions Imperialis figures in here, there's going to be a lot of wasted vertical space. So I thought about it and I came up with a solution to increase the number of miniatures that you can fit in here to make everything nice and compact. So what I ended up doing was designing these 3D printable trays that you can then put a layer of magnetic material. So for the infantry trays, I'm using Flex Magnet. And it worked out better than I had expected. So all 4 of my boxes of infantry are in here and only take up half of the case. So that means that with this loadout, you can fit 8 boxes of infantry in one case, which is that's an insane number of models. But it also gives you room to expand as they release more models for the game. So the way this is laid out, the bottom tray is slightly larger than the top trays, and so that's where your taller figures will go. I'm running out of desk space. 1 second. All right, and we're back. So those bottom trays, like I was saying, they're slightly taller, so they'll accommodate your standard bearers. I've got the Ogrins in here, as well as the Aethon Sentinels, and you can see there's just like maybe a millimeter of clearance for the banners. Now, I did not build or paint any of the Space Marines yet. I've been working on the Solar Auxilia first. So if the Space Marine banner bearer is not the same size as the Solar Auxilia one, we might need to resize the trays, and I'll show you how to do that in TinkerCAD here in a minute. But as I was saying, that first layer of the tray is going to be slightly larger. Then you stack 2 layers of the standard infantry trays in. Right. And let me just show you guys these. So, plenty of clearance for the regular infantry. And you just pop those in. And when you put the lid on, there's very little contact with those top pegs. So when you close the lid, it applies just a little bit of gentle pressure to hold everything in place. And you can shake it around, nothing's going to happen. But I didn't stop there. Let me show you what I did for the tanks. All right, so for the tanks, we needed the trays to be slightly taller. So it's the same styling and design, but I went ahead and just increased the height. So instead of 3 layers, you're only going to get 2 layers in the 4 liter really useful box. And the reason why I needed those to be a little bit taller is because of the Bane Blades and Hellhammers. If you have their guns mounted in a elevated position, they just won't fit in the Sentinel trays. They're just too tall, but they work a treat in these. And as you can see, just from the 4 Malcadors that are tucked here in the corner, and with that Bane Blade next to them, you can fit a lot of tanks in these trays. Now, to magnetize the bottom of these, I just went ahead and filed away the bottom and then printed a block of PLA to fill that air gap that had slots for 5x1 millimeter magnets. And then for the Malcadors, I did pretty much the same thing, but it's a different size block. Now, I will admit, I completely over-engineered the problem. You could probably just get away with gluing a magnet here and then sticking a taller magnet on your magnetic material and then just use that for the connection, but I digress. Now, if you guys want to get your hands on these files, you can find them on my Cults 3D store. The link is below in the description. They're available completely free. I didn't want to charge money when the Space Marine players may need to tinker with the files. For all you Solar Auxilia players, though, the files are actually sized perfectly for the Solar Auxilia models. You guys won't need to do anything. But let me show you in TinkerCAD exactly how easy it is to adjust these files to work for any size box that you might have. Alright, so here we are in TinkerCAD, which is free software, by the way, and it runs in your browser, so you don't need like crazy hardware requirements in order to run this. And now I've already got the file ready to go to be manipulated, but if you were loading this in yourself, you would just click on import, and then drag the file in, and it'll load it up for you. Now, all you need to do is left click on the file, and this box right here controls the height of the object. So with the tank trays, since you can stack 2 of them on top of each other, and there's roughly about 70 millimeters of height within the 4-liter box, you can just change this number to whatever height you want. So let's just hypothetically say we wanted to cut it in half. Just type it in and hit enter, and it'll automatically shrink the height of the object. So you can also do that with the length as well as the width. And with that, that'll enable you to use this tray design within any, plastic storage box that you might want to use in case you can't readily get your hands on the 4-liter really useful box. But that's all I've got for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I think next time we'll be looking at some terrain options for Legions Imperialis. But I've also got some Knight banners and a War Master Titan that we could potentially paint as well. So if you guys have any preference of what you want to see first, let me know down in the comments below. If you're new here and you like the content, make sure you like, subscribe, click that notification bell, and I will see you all in the next video.